Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's History News.
Yes, tonight we will be talking about 3 topics: slavery around the Civil War, women and women's rights movements, and a touch in the life of Indians in the 1820s to the 1850s.
First, we have our look into slavery. Slavery has been a problem since Columbus and before.
Tensions started reaching an all-time high in the early 1800s.
Many events led to the Civil War, but the Fugitive Slave Act sent the North States, the Free States, into a tumble.
Yes, this act allowed slaves to be captured anywhere inside the United States.
This gave slave owners a way to cheat and take already freed slaves and sell them back into slavery.
This brought the horrors of slave captures to the North's Free States' front door.
During the war, some slave owners would send their slaves in place of them to fight in the war. Sometimes these slaves would get themselves captured in order to escape to the North through the Union troops.
Slaves used the cover of war in order to run away.
Unfortunately, many slave owners anticipated this and strengthened their hold on their slaves.
During the war, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. This freed slaves in the southern, now seceded states.
Many newly freed slaves joined the Union Army, swelling the Army's deflated ranks.
But slaves were not the only ones fighting for their rights.
This brings us to tonight's second topic, the changes in women's rights.
Before the Civil War, women only had the option of domestic service and the teaching work. Most working women were single. Once married, they would leave their jobs in order to fulfill household upkeeping.
Women were not completely satisfied with this, so women's rights movements started to arise.
Seneca Falls was the first women's rights convention. At the conclusion of this meeting, a document based on the Declaration of Independence was made.
This was called the Declaration of Sentiments. Soon after this convention, Elizabeth Stanton and Susan B. Anthony led the campaign for equal voting, legal, and property rights.
These efforts were soon abandoned in order to aid the now growing anti-slavery movement. And with an impending war, this was a smart move, and women's roles were going to shift a little.
With men away at war, women had to take over some occupations of men, such as field work and working in factories.
Women also played a direct part in the war. They were nurses that took care of wounded and sick soldiers.
After the Civil War, women were allowed to work in hospitals for the first time.
Unfortunately, once the war ended, many women had to return to the work of housewife.
Next up, we talk with the famous Susan B. Anthony. Hello everyone. Today, I'm going to show you about the amazing things called AP books. Tired of carrying around these light objects called tablets? Hate reading off of these? The glare from the light and the eye strain that they give you? Well, here I introduce the AP History book. Heavy to carry, and they're amazing to read. Very interesting material. Buy one now and get 2 free. 3 heavy books full of information and entertainment. Here you go, Brianna. Here are your books you ordered.
Thank you very much.
Always great to have another happy customer. Welcome back, everyone. We would like to now take a moment to introduce tonight's guest, Susan B. Anthony. We are happy to have you here.
I am happy to be here.
So if it's alright with you, if I ask a few questions?
Fine by me.
Alright. First question, what motivated you to fight for your rights?
I felt like women could do the same jobs just as well as men could. And if not better.
Ah. What are some occupations you think women could do better than men?
I think women make great nurses and really good receptionists.
You fought for a woman's rights to own land. Why is that so important?
Well, if women can't own land, then they either must get married or live with their father or brother forever.
What is the point of the Declaration of Rights and Settlements?
The point of the peace was to clearly state that we as women believe we should be allowed to do, and that we have the right to be just as free as men.
What do you look for in future women's rights?
I look for women have the right to vote, and as well be independent and having a larger variety of occupations.
Very well. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Good to see you, Mrs. Anthony.
It was good to be here tonight.
All right. Next, we have a touch on the Indians' way of life.
In 1820, President Andrew Jackson asked for Indian tribes to move west of the Mississippi, and by 1835, most agreed to move.
But most wasn't enough for Jackson. In 1838, Jackson called for the forced removal of over 15,000 Indians out of Georgia and Florida. Over 4,000 died.
By 1850, most Indians lived west of the Mississippi, and those living east, many had died from disease and fighting.
Because of being forced around, many Indians took to a nomadic hunting way of life. The horse, introduced by the Spanish explorers, became the main travel resource and help for these nomadic hunters.
Horses were also used to charge in battle and fighting.
Yes. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
See you next time on History News. Okay, you ready?
I think we should get the rest of the stuff off the table.
True.
We'll be mixing everything up.
Okay. Okay.
We will forget what we're doing.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Oops.
Okay.
I think I mixed. No, my cards are still in order. Oh, hold on. Okay.
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 Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not. I don't know yet. I got this clock stuck in my head. Fight in place of themselves.
Slaves used the cover of war in order to run away.
I wasn't done.
Oh.
I wasn't done with my lines.
6 soldiers.
Guess what, soon-to-be woman? Guess what you're gonna do?
We were recording!
Oops.
I didn't know that. I need to get my parcel and then we're going shopping.
Okay.
We're taking Billy with us.
Okay.
Maybe take Kyle and Kevin.
Okay. Is Kyle still sleeping?
I don't know.
Is he still sick?
We were doing good. We were doing good. We got most of the way
They
through
were
this part.
doing good, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
You're right, I'm not.
Many events led to the Civil War. The fugitive slave act. The fugitive slave act. Black.
Do we need to start
They're so fun! Yay! I don't
Bye-bye. See you later. Hi, Dad. Again.
Recording again?
Yes. Here. I think you're gonna read your cards. By 1850, wait. I'm gonna sneeze. Okay. Mad much? Bye. Bye.